Welcome to the stream. There are some very talkative birds outside right now. And does that sound feed help a little? Kind of rounds it out a little. Tuco's joining us here. I'm surprised he's sleeping through this bird chorus outside. Got some nice bird and city noises going on here. This is like half me enjoying the environment here and then half me scrutinizing the audio after putting in that ground loop isolator yesterday. Gosh, I really want to say, like, happy Friday, but it is only Wednesday. Not that I guess I've really got a weekend going on here with this streaming everyday schedule, but, you know, Fridays are still kind of nice to notice. So, yesterday's stream was a bit of a slight diversion. I was showing off a little bit of X Windows happening on this LCD on our voting machine project here. It's been nice to actually have some graphical output under Linux, even though it's slow and has a bunch of other random problems going on. So I want to spend this stream doing some more actual debugging on the x11 side of things. The last stream we kind of played with X a little bit and ran a couple of toys like X clock and X dolly clock, but mostly on the last stream we were taking a look at this thing I got in the mail, this USB 2.0 galvanic isolator contraption. There's a comment from chat that somebody says on Google that I'm really deadly. Where does that come from? I hear just a little bit of light crackling along with this in my headphones. And at this point, I don't even know which of these audio artifacts are on the headphone side and which are on the microphone side until I actually look at the recording, because my monitor headphones happen to have a really bad connector on their cable, and so I'm getting problems related to that too. Now I'm getting a question about, okay, I don't think I'm going to make this a super interactive stream. Something about something AI. AI is just a marketing term, right? I got the best piece of advice in college from this professor who taught an AI class, and he said he defined AI as the study of algorithms that don't work. And specifically what he meant by that is that algorithms really are deterministic ways of reaching a particular result under a well-defined set of conditions. it's like a mathematical proof. And an AI is sort of algorithm shaped, but is sort of the closest you can get within a problem domain that does not lend itself to real algorithms. So something that's not possible to fully specify. Like face recognition, you can't write a mathematical description of what a face looks like exactly. We just have software that takes a bunch of examples and makes guesses based on statistics and data sets. Yeah, these microphone preamps are like really sensitive to electrical noise, so I think like every tiny bit of like ESD in the room is turning into a crackle on these mics. It's also possible some of it's software, but I've been tracking it down and it doesn't seem to respond at all to conditions like sample rate or buffer size or system load. It seems to be more on the analog side as far as I can tell, but still trying to track it all down. Oh man, I moved this camera and it's no longer lined up quite as well. I figure AI right now is best understood as a technique for laundering data sets and then claiming them as proprietary. It'd be nice to have more contrast than that, right? Might have to turn off some of these lights. I could just sit in the dark here like a nerd. Is this not booting? Oh gosh, I've got to re-enable the fixed focus on this webcam because I rebooted. Oh, did this lose its CMOS settings again? I wonder if there's a problem with the CMOS battery on this. I tested it a little while ago and it seemed fine, but there might be a problem with the connector or something more subtle. Oh, is this a request for comment about a particular Intel feature? Yeah, I haven't been keeping up with the latest Intel stuff, sorry. Ooh, no, that looks right. Oh, you know what? It has a perfectly legit complaint, actually. I had the compact flash card out because I was going to re-image it. You win, BIOS. Stock modifier again. Sure. That's interesting. Was this already in the cache somehow? It's quite possible I rewrote this right before the stream. It seems to be flushing the cache right now, though. I'm gonna have to wait for this to sync. Yeah. This is... I love cached I/O sometimes. Yeah, why does it usually stay mostly synchronous, and then this time it basically wrote entirely into the cache? That's interesting. It helps to actually have a card in the machine, and I guess the CMOS battery's fine. I mean, I don't know if the clock is working. So I was having trouble with the clock apparently being reset to 1999 a couple of times. This window here is a serial terminal, which should get log in at the same time as the console there. This LCD panel is full of nostalgia. It's got like viewing angle problems, it's got the weird scaling from VGA mode. It's got the very large fluorescent backlight. Heavy sheet metal frame. Yeah, I don't know if this is like if there's like a Y2K related problem or what. I don't know to what degree the BIOS would be messing with the time, or to what degree we would actually be storing a year in there. I mean, this machine was made post Y2K. It just uses a lot of 90s components. I wouldn't expect the BIOS to have just like an outright Y2K bug in it that was serious, at least. But maybe one that affected a configuration that their operating system never used. Okay, so I could log in either place. I'm going to use the serial terminal because it's more convenient. Okay, I think I made some changes to the xorg.conf here, which I have not yet tested. So I still don't expect it to get that full 1024 by 768 mode. There's some reason I have not yet determined that's preventing it from actually getting that full mode. Gosh. Oh man, debugging audio stuff sure is frustrating sometimes. Main thing I'm trying out here is this option rotate. I'm going to actually see if I can get the screen in portrait mode. Oh, and I tried to stick a bunch of options in here to disable extensions that we don't need. I thought I might have installed a package that would help with the keyboard stuff, but that's still not working. Let's see. Can we get a window manager? I installed TWM, right? No. Maybe I didn't install TWM. I guess I still haven't tried switching from FEWM to TWM. FEWM seems to be fairly slow on here, so I might try going without a window manager for a minute. Let's just see if it displays with the rotation, so let's just do an X term. Well, hopefully the stream is living up to expectations. It's x11 and it's slow. Oops. Ooh, and it's rotated. Gosh, okay, that's a nice success there. Let's pick up this raspberry. That looks great, actually. I can get us a better view. Maybe. Maybe put dolly clock or something on there that's a bit more recognizable. Yeah. So it looks like the rotation might just work. I did see a warning in the code that this is disabling hardware cursor support, which is slightly worrying, but then again, this is a touchscreen, so we'll probably have cursor disabled a lot of the time anyway, and maybe not be redrawing it super frequently. This x11 clock is definitely changing colors. Is it doing this on purpose? Like, it looks like it's just a color cycling effect at this point. I thought it was in the wrong color mode or something, but this looks like some intentional effect that we might need to just disable. Well, here, I can rotate this on the screen now that we're in portrait mode. Cool. Just stick that over there. So this is 16-bit color. Width is correct. Height is truncated. I forget why the height is truncated. The log file will tell us. I think it had something to do with the dot clock. See if I can size x11 clock to actually fit on the screen at least. Oh, that one's little. Less little. Can we go less little still? That's only hanging off the edge a little bit. Once I fix the height of the screen, that'll be perfect. Oh, you're a little slow. So this here is probably making approximately zero use of the hardware acceleration. Like, the hardware accelerator is going to help with things like fills and copies, whereas I think what's going on here is that it's going to be rendering a bunch of like horizontal lines and quite possibly just doing that on the CPU and then copying over a shared memory segment or something. So in that case, I mean, I don't think this hardware has any support for rotation. So in that case, we're doing a kind of grossly inefficient software blit, converting the kind of horizontal scan lines in RAM into vertical lines on the screen. Probably doing a bunch of plane switching nonsense or something. I don't know. I think we've actually got a real linear frame buffer thanks to Visa Local Bus. It looks like the driver had some residue of plane switching stuff, which I had to kind of re-add some of the dependencies for in getting this to work, but I don't know if that's actually being used at all in this mode. Make the window background be transparent. Could we try that? Does that use the X-shape extension? That sounds slow. Let's try the smaller font. Ooh. That's drawing in a really weird light yellow color. That is unnecessarily fancy. I do want to actually do a little bit of performance profiling and see if there's anything easy we can do to make it less slow. But I think first I want to get it into the right video mode. Let me put some text behind the X-Dolly clock. Oh. Make it turn off less. Do we not actually have dash F here? That's fine. Is that not working? Just trying to see if I can actually direct something to the pseudo terminal that's actually going to that X server. I thought PTS3 would do it. Huh. Whoa. It's also possible X term right now is just really lagged. I don't know. Alright, that's cool. What about that video mode? The video mode and the keyboard would both be nice to fix. Like, I don't have any keyboard support still, right? Probably for multiple reasons. And how's our touchscreen doing? $2,400 baud. I don't know why our touchscreen look seems to be out. I just have to figure out how to reset the touchscreen from here. Oh, I eventually got some returns in that window. Looks like some... Oh! And we got something on the... serial port. How's our system load doing? Oh, I'm just trying to switch Tmux windows. We might just be like super lagged at this point. I love to run a transparent X dolly clock on a 486. So slow it can't process serial port input. Oh, see, the touchscreen is working. It's just really, really laggy. Yeah, we're going to need to know why this is so slow. It shouldn't be this slow. Windows 3.1 is nice and snappy on this video chip. Oh, that was the outer mini-com. Yeah, the outer minicom was running on a Raspberry Pi, which is fine, but the actual... Okay, yeah. The Tmux on the machine I'm connected to took a while to actually even redraw the status line. Life at 66 megahertz. Yeah, I mean, this was designed as a voting machine, right? It's not really intended for, like, interactive graphics use. It does run Doom, but that was, like, very carefully coded for VGA, whereas this is a very haphazardly resurrected driver for x11. Which does make me kind of wonder, like, is there a hope of maybe cutting out some of these middle layers and just gluing the Wine graphics stack directly onto a driver for this chip? You're basically just ripping apart that 7,000 line C file. That sounds like fun, right? That would be like if you wanted to stream on like real like video driver innards. That would be it, right? Going through an X driver for a 90s video chip. That would be much more about what graphics programming used to be like, where like all sorts of aspects of what made a good graphics driver are vastly different nowadays than they were when this driver was designed. A lot of it boils down to when this was all designed, you had barely enough memory for one copy of everything that's on the screen. So you didn't just have like buffers for everything willy-nilly and then just do compositing whenever you wanted to update anything. You were very careful to update only small parts of the screen when possible, and you would use code that writes directly to the front buffer, and you would have 2D acceleration in hardware for things like drawing font characters and stuff. Whereas nowadays, memory is cheaper, and also the complexity of basic graphics operations that you need a lot for UIs, like drawing text. Once people actually started to elaborate that and make systems that can do text like accurately and like internationally, it became a lot more maintainable and a lot higher performance in most cases to do that in software rather than relying on hardware. So in both internationalization and kind of the spread of anti-aliased text rendering, text got more complicated than the hardware acceleration that x11 in particular offers, but that also a lot of the hardware of this era would offer. So modern applications just don't even touch hardware accelerated text rendering, whereas for something like Windows 3.1 it would have been ubiquitous. Is this going to give me a prompt? Did I just manage to extremely lag this machine by running x clock transparently? I think I'm just going to reboot it at this point. Gosh. Oh no, I just switched consoles. Ooh. Okay, never mind. I can switch consoles still. Yay. Do I have any XKB tools? Let's run a less CPU intense clock, maybe. Okay, this is the serial port. Are we still only getting intermittent touchscreen results, though? Yeah, I'll have to figure out what's up with that. How do I even send a Control A inside this? Thought it was Control AA, but... whatever. Did I just quit extern? I think that was just power management. Oh yeah, it does. I should see if the keyboard will actually wake this up. It wasn't before, but... yeah. That's interesting. I would half expect that even without a keyboard map, just pressing any key should wake it up. Look. The screen is much more readable when it's got a white background. Okay. 9 whole megabytes of disk space free on here, right? It's plenty. That's a bit of a mess. Okay, so a bunch of my disable extensions didn't actually do anything. I have no type 1 fonts, that's fine. I guess DRI I can't be disabled this way. But we got GLX, Xvideo, XVMC. Can't do these. Are we still loading GLX? Gosh, this slightly broken terminal is annoying. What is this particular brand of terminal mess? I don't know why we're still loading GLX. That's interesting. Yeah. Ow! Shadow frame buffer. That seems like something we want to disable. Is that actually active? Because that seems like it could really slow this down. If I understand right, that's a relatively recent X feature where it automatically maintains like backing memory for a lot of windows rather than having the app redraw them, which is very much like a memory/speed trade-off kind of thing that is not appropriate for this system. Let's look at the source for this. Video driver source code. Is that a default? I don't think that's a default. Let's definitely turn that off. Okay, and I'll just explicitly turn off the hardware cursor also because it's not supported with rotation, which is weird. You can just rotate the cursor. That might be a feature to implement if this turns out to be a performance problem. Also just like set the memory clock speed if we happen to know better than the driver. That's cool. Oof. I'm gonna restart the X server and get a clean log from this. Can we shut down the X server cleanly? Ooh. Sure. That counts. XKB server. Seems to be a disagreement between tmux and the outer terminal rather than between tmux and the inner terminal. It'd be handy to just copy files to a machine with a better text editor. Can we do that? I can't send a file through tmux, can I? What is ASCII transfer? Anyway. See, this is just trying to redraw the screen in tmux, and it's doing something that's causing the screen to scroll all over the place. It's not the most fun. I would just exit tmux, except that would also kill the X server. But maybe I'll just do that and then read the logs and see what happened. Are we terminal? I think we're terminal. Okay, this is a little better. Okay, so what do we actually have here? Failed open protocol names, that doesn't actually matter. No true type fonts, that's fine, we're on a budget here. Oh, ignoring vid mode extension, I was gonna remove that. No UDEV, that's fine. It's still loading GLX for some reason, whatever. Chips driver is coming up. No help from the kernel, that's fine. Loading all sorts of BIOS nonsense. Failing to load a little bit of BIOS nonsense. Oh, gamma correction. Rotating screen clockwise. Okay, is this just going to tell me hardware acceleration is not supported even if I'm not trying to use the shadow frame buffer? Why is this here 3 times? Just copy pasted code. Is this for the 3 different major families of chips here? Is it swapping? It doesn't have any swap space. You think I have room for swap space? Yeah, I might use Z-modem. It's just I didn't think I could do Z-modem through tmux. And once I quit tmux, I could just read the file with less. If I still wanted a copy of it, I could use Z-modem or something. I could UU encode it or base64 encode it. There's a question about terminal width and height. I mean, that was like the first thing I was looking for, but there didn't seem to be an obvious issue with that. I don't know what was actually going on. Oh my gosh, this driver is pretty unwieldy. Yeah, I think at some point they forked this driver into a couple of different major families of chip and copy-pasted this init function. Oh, rotation requires the shadow frame buffer. Really? That's disappointing. Gosh, that just means this driver is always going to be much slower when it's rotated. That's super disappointing. Like, the right way to do a rotated accelerated video driver is to actually, like, transform all the accelerated operations that you're doing, which is not easy, but I thought that's what they'd done here. It looks like they might just be doing everything on a non-rotated backing buffer and then rotating that in software, which is slow and annoying. Is that actually what's going on? Because, like, if that's all we got, it's not much better than I was getting with Windows 3.1. Yeah, instead of rotating the screen in software, I'll just modify the voting machine case to hinge on the other side. Gosh, yeah, the rotation is just implemented in their shadow frame buffer layer. That is so disappointing. There's gotta be a driver for Windows that actually does the rotation properly, that is just not the driver I have. Refresh area. Let's just do it all in software, why not? I hate this. This isn't even a good blitter. This is the laziest possible way to rotate the screen. Could it now? Do we even have enough memory for this? Also, I don't think the shadow frame buffer is in VRAM. I think it must be in system memory, because I don't think we have enough VRAM for that. Well, maybe I should go to 8-bit per pixel just to make this suck less. This is... I've never been... I mean, I won't say never. It's been a while since I've been disappointed this much by a video driver. Okay, what do we got in here, though? What does the accelerator actually look like? If I were to be hacking this up, what would I be experiencing? We got pix maps, we got pattern fills, we got solid fills. It's like, at this point, I'm practically ready to kick x11 to the curb and just start hacking a chip's acceleration driver directly into Wine. Like, how hard could it be, right? There's a data sheet. It's just some MMIO and some registers. I mean, they managed it in 7,000 lines of C. So actually 7,000 lines was for that one main driver file. We're in the Excel file here, which is not the biggest. How big is this one? So far this is mainly about different kinds of pattern fills. This is less than 2,000 lines of code. Yeah, how does that work? How does our actual command FIFO operate? Move D words. That's funny. What constraint are these really? So like I'm guessing that they want to always be operating in 32-bit chunks, which makes sense. So they would not be using like a regular mem copy. I'm curious if there's anything else going on here, since like what is the directionality implied? These like discontinuities on one side of the move that we're dealing with. I'm sure that'll make more sense if I actually look at the chip data sheet. Yeah, so how does stuff like this work? That is a chip-specific MMIO operation. Is this just a nice handy list of all the MMIO we might have to deal with on this chip? Plane masks. This might be the sort of situation where, like, if you actually want a high-performance rotated 2D graphics driver, you have to do something where you rotate all your source material as early as possible on the CPU, and then transform the coordinates, and, like, you just never have any hardware rotation, you just move around pre-rotated data. So, like, for example, when you load your font, you would have some routines to rotate all the characters to the right orientation, and then you would send rotated blit commands to draw all the text to the screen using those rotated font characters. There's a question from chat about whether I can use XR and R to rotate. That's all just like the API for the rotation. I'm looking at the driver now, which is like where the rotation would be implemented. And I'm disappointed because it's just using a shadow frame buffer and then copying from the shadow frame buffer in a rotated manner, which is not what I was hoping it would do. I'm going to see if this is any nicer on 8-bit per pixel. guess I can't turn off shadow frame buffer. Gosh, I'd like to make X start up with its old stipply background. The black screen makes it really hard to tell when it's done. Okay, still failing to load keyboard stuff. Oh, but we've got the full screen now. So whatever mode constraint it was hitting that kept it from using the full 1024 by 768 also seems to be worked around by just going to 8-bit per pixel. It is a lot faster in 8-bit mode. You know, this chip also has an interesting feature where you can, even if you're in a low color depth main video mode, you can have video windows that are full color. So that might be an interesting thing to try. You think maybe the other way of specifying rotation in X has a different implementation? I don't think the driver is going to support this. Do I have the utility? I don't have the utility installed. I don't think there's any documentation for that. I might just have to dig through the source code for a minute. CRT controller options. Ooh, is this the thing? Gosh, actually, maybe XR&R does have a completely separate implementation of a transform that we could layer on this. That's worth trying. Let's see if that's any faster. Oh, gosh. Does this use the same names? No. Okay, let's try this. Instead of option rotate, how do you comment things out here? This is output. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Someone's wondering if this has a -retro flag to enable the stippled root window. Yeah, that's a good question. I was wondering if there was an option for that, but I hadn't looked yet. I missed the stippled root window. This seems to not be rotated. I'm going to maybe install the XR&R user space or client utils just to see if that might give us some info. Actually, does the log mention R&R at all? What is going on with my key map still? Oh yeah, can I just disable DPMS for now? It's kind of nice that it works, but it's slightly annoying that it keeps turning off by itself when I don't even have an input device. Yeah, I don't know what's up with R&R here. Oh man, I think it might actually be worth compiling something like the XRNR tool and just sending it over via Z modem instead of building a new image. Actually, maybe you don't even need Z modem, but just like copy paste and base 64. XRNR. X-Dolly clock is not even centered, but maybe it's leaving room for two digits on the hour side. It is much smoother in 8-bit per pixel mode. I don't know why the background is color cycling. Yeah, let's see if we have a retro option. Oh, we can turn off the cursor. Oh, we can share virtual terminals. Someday I'll look up what Silken Mouse is. Oh, create root window with white background. -WR. White root, I guess. Oh, there's retro. Yeah. Ooh, generate core dump. Now let's do retro and no cursor, maybe. Good thing I have X render. Tried disabling DRI and that didn't seem to work. I don't know if I can disable X render. Stipple, our old friend. Oh, it looks beautiful. Ah, look at that in the microscope. It's so crisp. Beautiful stipple. Great. That's what we needed. See, now I want to run the transparent X dolly clock over the stippled background. I don't know why it starts up there now. Oh yeah. That's the vintage look we needed. Yeah, something in the vicinity of Xrender or Composite was taking a while to start up. I need to figure out how to disable that, because we certainly don't need it. We're in a land where alpha blending is probably prohibitively expensive to do anywhere. I'm still missing a file that this needs for the keyboard maps. It's annoying. Oh, I guess I need to do all the input configuration manually without UDEV. Maybe that even includes the keyboard. Huh. Rotate. Dot clock. I think we might also be hitting something weird I was reading about in the docs for this chip driver, about how how this chip represents dot clocks, because it seems like it always transfers 1 pixel at a time. So like parts of X are dealing with megabytes per second, whereas they're dealing with pixels per second, and that gets to be a problem. But I didn't quite understand if that was still relevant to our current situation. So I know this is capable of more than 8 bits per pixel at the full display resolution. I got it running at 16 bits per pixel in Windows, and I think it's got enough memory to do 24 bits. It's just these drivers are not quite set up right. Yeah, the render extension is what took 30 seconds to initialize right here. I thought I tried this and it complained, but I'm going to try this again. also kind of want to check to see if there's an xorg.conf option to make that retro background the default, because I do like that. Thanks. I'm going to look this up and it's going to be the same person checked this in. I guess it's only set right here. That's a shame. I might have to patch X. Ah, well. Let's see if disabling render actually helps. And do we have a R&R binary yet? We should. We already have all this junk. Oh, there's like a whole libx render. So we probably need to send both of those. How big is all that? Oh, we should have libx render already. That's just part of... I'm asking if that's in a separate package or if that's like part of the xorg libs package we already installed. I'm just going to start by sending over xrnr and we'll see what we're missing. It's only 58K. Do we have any good base 64 junk? Should we at least gzip this first? Jeez. A little better. Let's just copy paste this binary, why not? Good luck, serial buffer. I think that's just buffering still. Someone in chat saying there's a password leak. Oh, you mean the password I set for this VM? The password of vote for the voting machine? This is not fully buffered yet. Yeah, maybe Z modem would have been less annoying. Thanks, power management. Or did something else go wrong? Gosh. So the X server seems to have stopped running. My serial line is still tied up. Oh, there we go. Do I need to tell this specifically to ignore the junk at the end? Oh, no, you're fine. Just stop that. Stop. Oops. Yeah, no, let's clean up the end of that. You sure about that? It looked alright at the end. Maybe something got lost in the middle. Alright, I should just demodem this. Let's see if I can do this through Tmux. Missing the tool I need for this. I sure thought having Minicom on this machine would have also installed the like the Z modem utilities, but maybe not. XCCAT is not that, is it? Yeah, no, that's decompressing. What else do I have? X modem. ASCII. Yeah, maybe I should encode that first, and then maybe ask Minicom to send it as ASCII. I should have just built a new image at this point. I'll have a nicer way of sending files to this once it has Ethernet. I'm expecting to get an Ethernet card in the mail in a few days. Okay. ASCII. Is this just going to show up on my terminal? Terminal seems lagged. Am I going to have this whole thing in my history buffer now? Yeah, it's in my history buffer. Let's try that while catting this out to a file, maybe. Gosh, this is annoying. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to remake this card. I have the whole card image right here. Sending files over serial port is for suckers. I'll be that kind of sucker a different day. This will at least put the new xorg.conf and everything we need for XRNR into the Flash image. Oh, you know, I guess I probably don't even need this display subsection here, since it's got its own mode list, and I wasn't even apparently specifying the one for color depth 8, yet it still worked. So let's just remove that. Beside the ISA. There's a question from chat. Is that like dithering? You mean like the X stipple pattern? Yeah, kind of. I mean, it was a way to have a pattern that is not solid black or solid white. So, and it was kind of a distinctive, like kind of cross-hatching X pattern that for a long time, like as the X server was starting up, that was what you would see full screen. So it's both kind of a nice like little bit of nostalgia, but also it's a useful indicator that the X server has reached a particular point in its startup, which used to be more important when things took longer. Disappointed in that rotation. I want to also try wine on this thing just to see how bad that is. At the moment, the main problem is I don't have nearly enough disk space for like a regular wine package, so I would have to figure out how to strip that down before I could even start to run it. One option might be to run it in an emulator on a larger disk and then figure out exactly which files it accesses and just keep those. Another option is to try running it off of a network disk once we have that Ethernet. Yeah, wine and calc.exe, totally. That'll be nice to see correctly rotated on the screen. .1 megabytes. Oh yeah, I was just trimming out a bunch of random big stuff. Some of this stuff we might need later, like presumably we'll want SSL if we want to actually interface with anything that's on any actual network nowadays. But for this image, I was just kind of hacking and slashing stuff that was showing up near the top of a disk usage. I tried installing this, but that apparently wasn't everything I needed. Some other keyboard piece I need. Okay. It actually boots up to a full-on serial console without any manual fussing, which is at least nice. At some point it might be nice to have support for the power management on this board so that I can shut things down properly and have it, you know, like respond to the power switch. The power switch, of course, can wake it from deep sleep without any software assistance, but it needs software help to actually go back into like a clean power off mode. There isn't really a good way to cleanly power it off right now. Just kind of have to like halt it and wait for it to finish halting. It'd be really cool to get like a block level map of exactly what's being accessed in the file system as I run some applications, as a guide for what could be trimmed out. I'm sure Linux can give me a block level trace. I don't know how many tools already exist for processing that into a more useful format. Just a list of files would be nice too, though. Like, that's what I'm more likely to actually look at first. But it'd be interesting to try to take things down to a slightly different granularity also. Tmux. XOR retro. I don't know if we'll get all that module startup information without dash verbose. Nice. Oops. Oh, I got the nice X cursor in the very middle. Yeah, so X clock is actually a good bit slower load than the X server now. It's interesting. Is there any other clients we should be trying? Cool, render is disabled. Oh, where is this actually supposed to come from? Got some nice crispy pixels there. I am actually pleased to have it rotated correctly, even if the rotation part of the driver is disappointing. How are these usually generated? That'll actually work. XR&R. Dash rotate. That just redraw the screen normally. There's a discontinuity in the background now. Extremely default monitor. I don't know what the relationship is between XR&R's rotation and the graphics stack normally. The rotation that exists inside the graphics driver just seems to be its own thing, separate from everything else the X server's doing. Set screen config. Rotation has to be supported by the screen. That seems like something we need driver support for. My hope is that XR&R conceals some sort of generic, like, transform-based rotation that we could use to get faster rotation here. My suspicion, though, is that it's actually mostly an interface to driver-specific functionality, which we've already got and is already not great. Yes, X on the voting machine, that's exactly what this is. This is a 486-based AVC edge voting machine running a recent build of Xorg. Quite recent, actually. 1.20.11, straight from current Alpine Linux with a 5.14 or 5.14.15 kernel on i486. So yeah, I mean, I'm a little disappointed because I had to drop to a lower color depth than I wanted to get good performance, but I think that's probably alright considering everything else. And dropping to a lower color depth also fixed the video mode issue where it wasn't using the whole screen. So I don't know why there are some, okay, well now it just went off because of power management, but there were some discontinuities in the stippled background that cropped up when I tried changing modes with XR&R. And oh, I should see if runtime VT switching works. It does seem to go back to text mode properly. You used to be able to VT switch with Control-Alt-F1, but actually, I think that might have been removed from the X server by default at some point. So maybe let's see if we have CHVT, the command line tool. Let's also throw up a... Actually, Xclock is so slow. Is there something less slow that we could start up? Actually, I just want to run wine, but the files, they're so large. Gosh, we probably have SDL at this point, right? We could start running SDL-based stuff. That might be fun, right? This thing could probably run, I don't know, like an extremely slow Game Boy emulator. Oh, there's a question, what's a VT? A VT is a virtual terminal. It is how Linux lets you have multiple different, like, entire things going on the screen. So, like, this is an X server. Normally you'd have a windowing environment running inside this with a bunch of different programs. But then Linux also gives you a way to switch that entire graphic stack out for something different, usually text mode. But it could be another instance of this X server or an instance of some other graphics thing that is talking directly to your GPU. So do we have CHVT? We do. So I think CHVT1 would go to VT1. Yes. CHVT2. Here's a nice fresh one. I think X server was on 7. So those are virtual terminals. The X server didn't stop. It just temporarily stopped using the graphics output. So we could put a clock on there and then swap back and forth. There's almost certainly a way to re-enable the keyboard shortcuts for that. They're just not here by default. That's part of what that display variable is for, is you can have multiple X servers on one machine. People still do that fairly regularly for, like, VNC servers. If they want to have a VNC server that is not actually just showing their regular desktop, you know, you'll usually just run a separate X server for that. So yeah, now I can change VTs. That works. It's kind of magic that this works. There's a whole bunch of legacy VGA nonsense going on to make this happen. And then it gradually restores all the memory segments it needs. You'll notice the screen was a little bit corrupted at first because it switches modes, and then it has to restore all the memory. Restore/repaint, really. Yeah, there used to be a couple of these keyboard shortcuts, like Control-Alt-Backspace would just kill the X server, which used to be useful. Nowadays, it's mostly just something you hit by accident. I mean, until they disabled it. Oh, there's a question slash complaint that it's slightly monochrome. Yeah, I mean, this is a full color screen, but these applications are indeed a little monochrome. Um, we could find some color applications to run. Right, like what libraries do we have? I think we do actually have SDL. No? Oh, my terminal's being flaky again. Is this wrapping? Oh my gosh, libgl. Why do we have libgl? I should delete libgl. XDMCP. So we got some good X libraries here. I thought we had SDL. Maybe that was just on the build image. We have free type. Was that GDM? XCB. XCB is like the new libx11, so of course now you need both. We don't need VDPOW either. That is video acceleration, which is probably not implemented on this chip, even though this chip does have video acceleration features. Just like scaling, not like video decoding. XVMC. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, okay, so I should install something that is more interesting to display on the X server. That is maybe something that I can do other than like the full application that I wanted to run. Let's see, ImageMagick or something like that will display still images. We could try to run some kind of game or something graphical like that that uses SDL. What's in the Alpine repo that depends on SDL? We could just look there. Advanced MAME. Oh yeah, we could run Doom at a better resolution. Folks wanted to see that, right? Milky Tracker. I wonder if that supports any audio that we could actually get running here. ScumVM. I don't think we have enough CPU power to emulate like a Super NES or even a NES. ScumVM would probably work. Something like a tracker might work. I wonder if FreeCiv would work. I doubt we have anywhere near enough disk space for that though. What is the smallest Doom port? We have Crispy Doom, Chocolate Doom, and Free Doom. The only one of these I've heard of is Chocolate Doom. Oh, Crispy Doom is based on Chocolate Doom, but for like higher resolution. I don't know that we need that. Ooh, see, we would need actual game packages to run Doom. Under DOS, I think... How big were they on DOS? Like 8 megs or something? Oh, I see. Crispy Doom is down here. Huh. This won't be much fun without a keyboard, though. Okay, so this just needs some WAD files, I guess. I had one of those. Did I not even put that here? Yeah, I kind of want to make sure keyboard works before trying to run anything too interactive on here. It's also like large enough that it might be annoying to make it fit. XKB comp. And DOSBox. That would be funny. A color version of Cowsay. What is XKB comp even doing? Oh. Did I turn off the extension for DPMS without actually turning off blanking? Oh, that's not DPMS. The backlight is still on. That's just screensaver. Ah. Hmm. Maybe that isn't the issue. Anyway. Gosh. Not even. Okay, if I give Xorg a more verbose option, will it at least tell me what it's running XKB comp with? How high does verbose go? I think I'm gonna leave DPMS enabled because it actually works fine and it's kind of useful. Huh. Oh, that's interesting. So I probably need some xorg.conf settings to actually set up the input devices I need. That's going to be one problem. I also just don't know how any of this XKB stuff works, and I would like to reproduce the problem here outside the X server, but I don't even know how it's invoking that keyboard compiler thing. Could we strace this? Why don't I have strace? I should install strace. I think I'm not going to use PPP. Let's just lose PPP. I guess while we're here, I should see if TWM works, and also maybe lose XR and R, because that's not useful. Tuco's having a good nap there. Oh my god, every time every time people come out with the commands. Usually have you tried followed by the thing that I just tried. Let's see. Did I bring TWM? No. I guess I didn't actually rebuild with all of that. It wouldn't have put that in a weird place, would it? User bin GWM. Maybe I didn't actually get this build. Okay, TWM, xclock, xterm, all that junk. strace. How big is strace, and do I dare ltrace? Strace is a megabyte? It's worth it though. What about ltrace? Ltrace is smaller. Yeah, I need some more debug tools. Let's try that. Does anybody have feedback on the length or frequency of these streams? Someone's cooking something nearby and it smells good. Is there like a city planning kind of game that is small enough we could run on here? Like, we ran classic SimCity for DOS a little bit. I wonder if there's something kind of like that for Linux. We could also just try running SimCity under Wine. Oh. Do we just have source ports of SimCity now? This looks fun. An open source. So apparently SimCity was open sourced a while ago, and somebody picked up a version of that for the One Laptop Per Child project and modernized it a little bit and called it Micropolis. Is this in Java now? A bunch of this is still in C. Linux Micropolis for x11. This might be great to run, actually. It uses Tickle? Does it? Huh. If it's been extended to need some scripting languages, like if they're actually running Python and Tickle on the actual, like during gameplay, this might be a problem. But if they're just using that for the build process, this should be fine. Well, yeah, let's see how hard this is to compile. Let this flash while we're fussing with the compile. So this will be a little like what we were just doing for the X-Dolly clock yesterday. So we'll keep the X-Dolly clock builder. We'll have a Micropolis builder. I should just check to make sure Micropolis isn't just in Alpine. I was assuming it isn't. I don't think we're going to use snap. Yeah, we're probably best off compiling this. I don't know which X libraries it's actually going to need. Let's start with just x11. What is turbo gears? Oh, this ran on Facebook? Ew. Okay. How do I not build that? Let's try just building this directory. Got a lowercase makefile here. Are we compiling Tickle? My guess based on this is that we might actually need Tickle installed in the host build environment, and this might be building parts of it for use internally. I'll do the install separately. Let's just see if that even builds. There's a question about whether this has a mouse port or just the touchscreen. It technically has a mouse port, although there is no connector for it. The system on chip has a mouse interface, and it might be exposed on a connector somewhere, but I don't know where. We could certainly solder wires directly to, not in the main system on chip, but there's actually also a mouse interface on the Super I/O chip, and we could solder wires to that because it's in a QFP package. XPM. Man, remember when pixmaps were a viable image format? That's the only problem I see there. This is indeed compiling Tickle TK. Love to compile large piles of code inside sandboxes. Shared memory. What was the capitalization on that file it wanted? Capital XS. Okay, XX dev. There's a question about why I'm using Alpine for this. It's just a nice small Linux distro with a small libc. I don't have to go out of my way to make things like that'll actually fit in 64 megs. It also still uses, it also still compiles binaries that will run on a 486. Some distros don't. Wow, is there tickle all over this? I don't know if that's something they added in Micropolis or if the original SimCity had scripting. Are there any errors in this sea of warnings? So we have some deprecation warnings. libtickle.a. Are they just trying to pull tickle binaries out of the same build tree? Right, like this is the full source code of tickle just right here. Looks like we were trying to build that though. Why did we not get a .a file here? Are we not compiling all this stuff in Docker too? Ah. That's annoying. Where do these constants come from? G error type, really? G error type, really? Is there actually a SimCity source port that doesn't use Tickle? Huh. Multiplayer SimCity. I guess they do use Tickle for the UI. Oh my god, this is for sale? This is... okay. Wow. x11 SimCity, copyright 1993, single player node license, multiplayer node locked license. Wow. You can get a multiplayer floating license for x11 SimCity. That's a thing. Hey, Tuco. Okay, fine. So maybe Tickle is necessary. Oh, Tuco, you're up here now. You're touching my mic. You're stepping on my keyboard. Oh, and you're chewing on this plastic thing. Oh, where would I find the Tickle API? Oh gosh, somebody is apparently rewriting this to use Python and C++ instead of Tickle TK. I don't know if that's going to be an improvement. We could check that out and see if it at least compiles. This doesn't look like a super annoying thing to fix though. It looks like they just changed some Tickle headers and I need to figure out, like, this is probably going to be like a one-line patch. Maybe this uses an extremely ancient version of Tickle that no longer even has documentation. What is this called? Macropolis C++. Oh no, there's a C# bus. C# port, a Unity port. Oh, Tuco, you're so in the way right now. No, don't claw at the screen. Gosh, boy. Are you clawing at the screen because I'm scrolling? Why a Unity version? Oh my gosh, why? Why does this use the Unity engine? Why did we go from something that was nice and simple and self-contained to something that has a dependency on a corporate product? It's... Does anybody ever call tickle math error? Like, I just want to know where these constants are supposed to come from. No. Let's just remove this. We can just be less specific about floating point errors here. Oh, there was even a no math error define. Maybe that should have been set. Yeah, that might be nicer than patching. XC flags? Why couldn't they have just done C flags plus equals? Come on. I'm just gonna... Gosh. I'll actually make those overwritable. Oh, I could patch the config file. Really? Oh, we've got no math error. Was that not actually fully wired up in this source file? Oh. Oh, gosh. Do we not have IEEE math defined? That is a misleading comment. Oh well. Okay, now it needs yak. Let's save this diff. Let's not tempt fate by using make-j here. Oh, where's Took? Bison is a type of yak, right? Yeah. Bear is also a type of yak. Hunk ignored. Strip off that activity directory, I guess. Left to compile tickle. Is this going to be much bigger than the DOS version of SimCity? Did that just compile successfully? I'll need to install it in the image correctly. But yeah, interesting. I might run its actual install script to install it. What does that actual install script even look like? Sim home. Maybe this is portable. Big old binary. Without any surprising dependencies. I think that's mostly stuff I've already got. I might need libxpm. How big is this? 9 megs for the res directory. Ooh, what is in here? It's most of the source. We don't need the source directory, right? let's just do this. Make duster home builder install. Now we can just grab it out of home builder user. Maybe we should tar it. Yeah, it's probably fine to just copy it using the native Docker copy. Alright, rootfs. Do that. User local shared doc, user local bin. Is this gonna be fine in user local? Not gonna run out of room, are we? So far, so good. Disappointing 2D acceleration. I wonder if it's actually easier to do the rotation at the level of like Wine's 2D acceleration layer. I don't know what Wine's 2D acceleration is like internally. I assume it's just GDI basically, like an open source implementation of GDI. No space creating journal. I'm gonna have to turn off the journal again. The journal uses like a megabyte. was thinking about ways to get like a temporary mouse when the touchscreen is having issues or we haven't actually set it up yet. I wonder if somebody's got like a serial mouse emulator. Some kind of tiny bug enjoying the monitor light here. I'm assuming it's harmless, but maybe it's a tiny mosquito. Will it bootload? What do we have to look forward to anyway? Is there any gameplay video of Micropolis? Is this menu screen included? Those look like some big high color depth image files. And this is definitely a Tickle TK user interface we've got. Yeah, okay. Let's flash the image. Our enormous 64 megabyte card. Still don't quite know what's wrong with the keyboard, but I'm hoping this gives us another debug tool for that. Alright, let's try this out. Not nearly enough cat in this view, really. I'm hoping we have a window manager. Like, I was avoiding TWM at first because although it's a very old and very basic window manager, I vaguely remembered it not actually being super resource light. But it might be resource light in some of the ways that we need, like binary size and usage of the X protocol. I don't know. Thought it was worth trying. Oh no, clock skew. The real-time clock seems mostly fine while the computer's running. Alright, terminal. What's the damage here? 2 megs free? Alright. Tmux. xorg-retro. Keyboard problems. Stipple. Alright. Can we have TWM? And maybe a small X clock as a treat. I don't think TWM does anything to the root window, so I don't know if we'd be able to tell if it's running without any windows for a frame to go on. Okay, so we've got x11 occupying the entire screen in the right orientation. That seems nice so far, at least, even if it is slow and doesn't have any input devices. This part is xclock being slow, not the X server. I don't know why xclock takes so long to start up. What takes longer to start, xclock or all of FEWM2? Are we also using like 20% of the RAM just to try to load xclock? Yeah, there's a suggestion in chat to profile. Yes, that is definitely on my list of things to do. I don't think a lot of profilers are going to work because this CPU doesn't have any of the nice modern performance counters, but at the very, very minimum we can profile it by using the GDB stub and just breakpointing all over. A little small X clock there. There's kind of a limit to how sharp the screen gets, even if I have it focused really well, since there's a little bit of a haze from the touchscreen cover layer on the screen. Let's try running, what is it called? Micropolis? I'm gonna kill xclock. It does look like we have a window manager. It's not much, but we've got a border, and we can kill xclock without the X server dying, hopefully. Okay. Micropolis. Here goes nothing. 2002. I'm happy for it that it found the shared memory extension. We'll need that where we're going. Get this microscope out of the way. I have no idea how long this is going to take to start. Okay, the X server is doing something. Whoa. We just had some slightly misaligned looking graphics there for a second. Can I switch back to the other terminal? I'm trying to switch terminals in tmux, and that's not responding. Power usage is roughly normal, 1.46 amps. Something certainly might have just crashed, though. Like, I have not seen tmux refresh. Yeah, I wonder if we just allocated too much off-screen memory or something. Maybe I'll try that again, but watch the terminal that Micropolis is actually running in. And/or the terminal Xorg is running in. Maybe I'll split tmux and watch Micropolis and Xorg at the same time. Now we've got the wobbly camera. Booting the Linux. It's wildly impractical, but I would kind of enjoy having the ability to put text messages on the text LCD over there. We did it before, just poking at the registers in Grub, but I don't know if these are still around, but back in the day there used to be a bunch of frameworks that people had written to try to do cool things with text LCDs that you would attach to, like, your parallel port usually. There's this thing called LCD proc, like LCD processor. It was a program you'd run in the background, and it would just display like system stats or like your current music playlist or whatever on the LCD. And these things are usually small. The biggest they would usually come in is like 40 characters wide by 4 lines or so. Size is like 20 by 2 or like 40 by 4, 16 by 2. That was a lot more common. I think this one is 20 by 2. But this one is actually connected directly to the ISA bus, so it should be absurdly fast to update, which is interesting. There's still way too much user space going on. We should have less user space. Oh gosh, I was looking at some alternative X implementation recently that seemed to be kernel space. It was not open source, and I didn't really want to like dig too deeply into some like random proprietary embedded nonsense. But it looked like somebody had written an X server that ran in Linux kernel space and they were selling it. Ah, we have our login back. Do we have memory for tmux? There's always memory for tmux. Split that in half. Xorg verbose. We probably do need a window manager. It seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like Micropolis might be using multiple windows. Yeah, there's a comment that X in the kernel is probably just great for security. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what out there even has a thicker attack surface than a graphics driver anyway? Like a graphics driver and many layers of API that go with it. Many very legacy layers of API. Oh, did I forget to give dash retro? That's fine. No, it isn't fine. I miss my stipples. We need verbose 9 and retro. Sorry. Well, it's good that we have a cat cam that's good in the low light while we're working on a very glare-prone monitor here. Oh. You're not allowed to hate x11 if you just had trouble configuring it once. The bar to hate x11 is much higher than that, sorry. I fully endorse hating x11, but you have to have an appreciation of just why. Like, x11 is like an archaeology expedition at this point. Like, doing anything with x11 is just interacting with decades of history. Is TWM still complaining about fonts here? Let TWM settle down for a second. But yes, can we run Micropolis? Can it do multiplayer across multiple X servers? Gosh. Hey, Tuke, you went out. Oh my god. Wow. How do I play this without a mouse? Or a keyboard? If we had a network, I could use something like Synergy. It's tempting to see if I can forward something across the serial port. I could also try to get the keyboard working. So, like, I'm fully prepared to try something with Synergy. It's just that, I've never done x11 forwarded over a serial port before. That's going to be an interesting experience. I don't know if we're going to need TCP/IP or not. Like, it seems like if I'm just doing a single X client without shared memory or anything, I should just be able to glue the X domain socket directly to the serial port, but I've never tried that, and I can imagine some reasons why it might not work. Oh my god, why am I getting so many messages in chat? Yeah, I don't actually care about any of that, sorry. Okay. I'm also wondering if there's an option on the command line I can give to Micropolis to just open a city directly, because that might be interesting too, just to see if that works. Oh, it does have command line options. Oh, generate random map and start playing, sure. There's a question about the touchpad. I don't have any of the input devices working yet. That is obviously a thing that we could do next. It just hasn't already been done. That's interesting. I wonder if this is just a bug in the game scripting. At first I was worried that Tickle was entirely broken and that maybe the splash screen was running before the game scripts start up. But it looks like the script that's failing was also responsible for the splash screen. So I'm thinking this might just be a problem with the script running in this mode. Is there a different mode we could try before going on an input tangent? That's a good sign. Okay, well that was the same thing. I guess I didn't notice that it wasn't just a single image, but it looks like it's drawing the map as like a city map and stuff. Anyway, that worked, but it looks like it didn't actually do anything with the command line option I gave it. Multiplayer mode. Can I give it a file name for a city? To go. Hey, you want it back in? Okay. You really wanted to steal my chair, too. looks like maybe it just doesn't have the display, the X display set correctly. I don't know where to be when Tuco's in my seat. Maybe the thing to do is to fix the input devices. It'd be handy if there was a way to just send some input from the serial port here, but I could go on some tangents to try to get a temporary input thing set up, or I could just get the real input working. It's nice that the splash screen runs at least. Tuco is purring and he wants attention. I have this great 768 by 1024 screen now. Oh, wow. That was a fancy X segfault. Did we get a core? No, I didn't tell it to make cores. Can we reinitialize after that? That looks like it's in a not quite normal text mode, right? It looked like a text mode, but with character cells that were taller than usual and without the font set at all correctly. Tuco's really purring down here. Hey, Tuco. Interesting. That's interesting. Caps lock LED is not even coming on the keyboard right now. does input devices go? Where proc input devices? Like, obviously we have keyboard support in the console, but I haven't actually looked to see what bits of the Linux input subsystem we're even enabling in the kernel at this point. I mean, I've been trying to get the touchscreen stuff working, but not very hard, because we haven't really had a use for it. But now we do, so touchscreen is probably basically the next thing to get working at this point. Tuco really wants the pets right now. You want to be a lab cat, Tuco? You want out? No? Okay. Oh man, well maybe this is a good time to call this a stopping point for the stream. We can run Micropolis, we just can't interact with it. We have a window manager. Yeah, we've got like a basic X server here that sometimes crashes when you allocate too much off-screen memory. We could debug the X server crash. That might be something to do. Yeah, so a few topics for future streams here. We could debug the X server, we could profile the X server, just work on the input devices and get that working. Got a little bit of progress there. We got the rotation, we've got the full screen video mode, and we tried a couple new programs. Tuco, you want to hang out for a minute? Tuco's wandering around under the desk. Well, I will see you folks tomorrow on the next stream. I've been streaming every day lately on twitch.tv/scanlime, on the Scanlime-in-progress channel on YouTube, and on Diode Zone. So hang out if you like. I will see you then. Happy hacking, folks.